Today we're having a good old yarn with Mary, a QHS member whose journey is as rugged and awe-inspiring as the red dirt tracks of the outback. So how did she carve her path to success in this wide brown land? Let's roll up our sleeves, take a peek behind the curtain, and unearth the grit behind the scenes.
Well, my parents were born in Victoria, Mum in Melbourne and Dad in the country. I won't say where, in Australia. And I was born in Melbourne, and I'm the eldest of 5 children, adult children. And Mum and Dad were really good people. They were loyal to anybody that they had anything to do with, especially family and us kids. They always got themselves involved. No matter where we went, they got themselves involved in the local church and school communities. And we used to go camping every year, all of us, and we loved that, or I did anyway. And we'd meet other kids on our camping trips. We loved going fishing and swimming, and what else was there? Games, indoor and outdoor games, and meeting other children, other kids. I loved playing cricket with my brothers and other kids around the street. And my dad, when he wasn't busy with the gardens I moved up to Marysville. I was living with Mum and Dad for a while, and I had some quite amazing experiences. I had been ill. I'd left a relationship. And after Mum and Dad, I stayed in Healesville for a little bit longer. And once I left there, I went to Marysville. Marysville was beautiful. I loved it up there. And it was quiet. I lived in a little cottage, and it was quiet, was peaceful. And I found that my channeling and clairvoyant abilities became quite active up there. And I wrote a lot. I used to go for walks in the forest, and this background is actually a real reminder of that, because I'd look up to the trees and I would see things, I'd get impressions of things, and I'd get insights. And I just loved the surroundings of it all. And I remember about 6 weeks before my lease was due to be renewed, and my landlord wanted me to stay, and I was getting these really uncomfortable feelings in my gut about something. I didn't know what it was, but it was just bothering me every time I came back into Marysville. And anyway, about 4 weeks before the lease was ready to be renewed, I was out in the backyard, and I was making a fairy garden for my grandchildren for when they came to visit. And this massive big being appeared to me in the sky, and I looked up, and I could see with my physical eyes as well as my mind's eye. And he said to me, "Pack up and leave now." And after the feelings that I'd been getting, I started to get even more concerned. I actually said to him, "And do you have somewhere for me to move to?" And with that, he just disappeared. He knew that I'd find somewhere. So I followed the instructions. I just felt I had to. And somebody I knew up there actually rang me and said, "You've got to get out of there really fast." And that was the third. And my mother always said to me, "When you hear a message 3 times, Mary, always listen to it, because it's God speaking to you." So I packed up all my things, put them in storage, and I filled a suitcase, and off I went, and stayed between family and friends for short periods of time. And I went back the day before my lease was due and handed in the keys. And the next day, Marysville was burnt to the ground in the Black Saturday fires. My cottage was gone, everything was gone. And I knew I would have been napping at that time when the fires came through. So I was very, very blessed, divinely protected too. My childhood, I was very clever in school, always top of the class in the early stages in primary school, and first one finished. And I was bullied. I started getting bullied and pushed around and picked on and everything. I was very quiet. I loved to sort of spend time with myself. Even before school, started school, I would go off in the garden at our house, and I'd hide and I'd sit and spend time with me and nature, and I loved it. But I couldn't run away from the bullying or anything, so I used to hide even more once I was home. And that gave me comfort somehow, because I used to talk with myself or something anyway. And so that sort of went through into my adulthood, the bullying and the abuse. I wasn't abused in a way when I was a child, not that I can remember anyway. But my grades started to drop, and I just couldn't get back up there with my grades. So that's about all I can think of in my childhood. I loved playing with the kids. I loved riding my bike. Dad was really good. One of the things when I was I think it was just in high school, the boys and I used to jump off the garage roof. I probably shouldn't be saying this. Jump off the garage roof to see who could jump the furthest. Of course, Mum was inside having a heart attack each time we'd do that. That was fun, believe it or not. My grandchildren will probably have something to say to me about that one. They don't know. So are my children, actually. So that was fun. We used to play a lot of board games and go family visiting. I had a very close bond when I was a little girl with my grandmother, I should say, on my father's side. And rather than play with the children, my cousins and everything, I would spend time with my grandmother in every visit. And when she got sick, I would lay on the bed beside her and comfort her. And I was not quite 4 when she passed away, but I don't recall those memories, unfortunately. But I do remember one thing. I used to look out the car window when we go driving, and I'd say, "Grandma's up there." It was like I could see her somehow. Anyway, she used to appear to me at times later on in life, in my adulthood, and she said to me once that the comfort I gave her and the love I gave her made her transition easier, which is really comforting to me, because that's something a beautiful memory that I can carry for the rest of my life in my heart. So, but in my teens, I was abused physically, sexually, and any other way that you can abuse someone, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. And I just didn't have a good time of things. I thought there must be a world or a life that is so much better than this. Not by my father or mother by any chance, but Dad was strict, but, we didn't turn out bad kids at all. But I just had trouble with digesting the fact that people could hurt other people so badly. It just didn't seem to be in my nature, So, and later on in my adulthood, all the bullying and picking on me just carried through, some of the abuse. And I didn't stand up for myself. I just let it happen. So I can only sort of say that I can't put blame anywhere. It's just I didn't have the courage to stand up for myself. In 2015, I was diagnosed in the early part of the year, January, February, with osteoporosis, and I had a bone density test. And 3 months later, I was in a car accident. The doctor told me the repercussions of a not very good bone density. And that was a serious car accident I was in. And I didn't end up with any broken bones. And the doctor at the hospital said I should have in such a serious accident. And when they got me out of the car, a lady laid her hands on me and did healing. She was just on her way home from a church conference, would you believe? And she laid her hands on me, and I could feel the healing that was going into my body, because I told her I felt like my chest was broken, I felt like my back was broken, my face was broken up. And the healing was just incredible that she channeled through, and I was okay. And after that, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Then I think it was about 3 weeks after that, I had to drive my mother up to Ballarat to be with my brother. He was terminally ill and didn't have long to live, one of my brothers. And I had to get back in a car because I couldn't get into a car after the accident. So I had to practice. And I was staying with Mum to help her out a bit. And I was driving around the village, round and round, to get used to driving again. And we had to go up there to Ballarat, and we stayed. It's a 2.5-hour drive. I did it, and I just prayed and prayed and asked the angels to protect me and get us there safely. And we got there, and I drove Mum in every day, half hour there, half hour back, to the hospital, the Ballarat hospital, and to be with my brother, so Mum could spend the time with my brother and before he passed away. And after the funeral, we stayed up there for a little while longer, and we had the funeral up there. And when I came back, when I drove Mum back, I stayed with Mum and continued to look after her, make sure she was okay. And all of a sudden, my body just went into crash mode because I didn't have time to deal with my healings from the car accident. So my body went into crash mode, and I became seriously ill, on death's door again. That's not the first time I had been on death's door, by the way. And I was just so ill I couldn't get out of bed. My mum was actually looking after me for a little while, and I put out really strongly. I just surrendered, and I said to God, God, just take me if it's my time. Mum sat on my bed and said, Mary, I don't want you to go. She said I couldn't stand another one of my children leaving me. So I said to the universe, I said very strong and very clearly, find me the best TCM herbalists and practitioners close by. And they're incredible, the universe. So when I was able to go for a drive down the street, which is not far away, I used to walk down there, I found this clinic that had everything that I needed. And I went up and checked it all out and everything. Oh my gosh, I just had everything there that I needed. So I spent a lot of time going there, being treated, and then I volunteered for a while until I moved, and I moved on after that, moved around a little while to a few places here and there. I had learnt Reiki and I had learnt angelic healing, and I used to volunteer my services at the spiritualist centres around near where I lived, and it was really good. I had some fabulous experiences with spirit just from laying my hands on people's shoulders. They were incredible experiences. And then in 2024, I became ill from the flu vaccine. 2020, that is, 2020. And back so ill, I thought I was going to die again. And I had injuries and I had illnesses. So many things were wrong with my body from that shot. And I had to have it. I never had flu shots, never had the flu, but I had to have it if I wanted to see my mother in care. She was in care by this time. And I couldn't not go and see my mother, so I had the shot. And I couldn't go and see her in the end for about 10 months or so. That was just horrible. And then in I still had a lot of those things that happened to me from the flu shot, and I was struggling to cope with anything, life, anything. And in 2024, I heard about QHS through LWS, Love One Society, and I thought about it. I had fears and doubts, but my gut was telling me to join. My heart was telling me to join. So I followed my heart rather than my head, which is what I did a lot, followed my head. But this time I followed my heart, and I'm just so grateful that I did, because a lot of all those injuries and health issues from the flu shot have almost gone, pretty much gone. My lungs have cleared up so much since joining QHS. I joined in, I think it was January, February 2024. We are now in 2025, and I received a V6 quantum twine wave device in April 2024, and my spine and my knees were in such a bad way. I thought I was going to be in a wheelchair definitely by the end of this year, but I thought it was going to be last year because my spine was just felt like every time I bent or moved or anything, rolled over in bed, did my yoga, anything, it just felt like it was going to crumble and break into pieces. I had to be so careful. My knees, especially my right knee, that was the worst, felt like it was going to snap in two every time I stepped up onto a step or stepped down. It was such a struggle to step up and down steps, and walking was a struggle, but I still did it anyway, because I believed it would strengthen my knees. And the swelling, I'd had swelling every day, even when I wake up in the morning, the swelling was there. Well, none of that is true now, because by 2024 in June, a couple of months after I'd received the V6, my knees were so much better. I could walk up and down stairs without any pain and without any problems at all. I took it easy because I could feel the healing was still going on in my knees. My spine took a little bit longer. The swelling took a little bit longer. I don't get swelling except when I'm on concrete for too long or walking on concrete for a long time. That's the only time. But I used to get such intense pain in my back from the problems I had that I couldn't stand up for very long. I thought I was going to pass out from the intense pain, so I'd have to go and lay down on my bed. But I don't have to do that now. I don't get that intense pain. There's the odd occasion that I do get pain, and that's because of the curvature that I have in the spine, and that's only when I overdo things. But now I can do a lot more since joining QHS than I could before I joined. So much more in a day. And I just feel so blessed and so grateful. And I remember in September 2024, I was having a really hard time of things, and I was really struggling. And because I was going through a major detox period, and I think it went on for about 2 months. And towards the end, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I just felt like giving up on everything. And all of a sudden, my father appeared to me, and my mother was behind him, and my father put his hand on my back. I could see him, and I could feel his presence. And he put his hand on my back, and he said, "Mary, don't give up. You're on the right path." Well, those words were just so encouraging to me. And I was just so appreciative of him saying that, because I never had a close bond with Dad until I moved up there to live with them again at Hillsville. And then we started to bond, because I realised how much he had in common with me, or how much I had in common with him, than what I even knew. And that's spiritually, with the gifts, the abilities, the clairvoyant abilities and everything. He was very clear with his, but he couldn't tell anybody. He said I was the only one he had ever told. And I just loved that. I just loved it. Was very intuitive, very tuned into each one of us kids. And anyway, those encouraging words just kept me going. And I've picked up from that point, and I'm still here. And I'd love to, because healing is something that is in me, that resonates with me. And I used to dream years ago of having healing centres, and I didn't know how that was going to happen. Well, I'd love to be involved in healing centres with QHS, and I don't know how that's going to be just yet, but anyway, eventually I'll get to know, I guess. And yes, I remember Dad saying to me years before he passed away, I shouldn't say years, because he was just about to go into nursing care, and I said to him, "Dad, do you know I'm going to have a healing centre one day?" And he just looked in my eyes with such love, and he said, "Yes, I know, Mary, and I'm going to be there when I'm back with the Lord, helping you." I was just astounded by that. I was just taken back. And I said, "Oh, that's going to be great, Dad. That's going to be great." So here he is behind me, giving me encouraging words now, as I'm starting this journey. So I just feel so blessed. And I love everybody at QHS. They're just so beautiful and supportive, and the genius of Dr. A and all his other people behind him, and everybody at QHS. The support is just, well, I see it as above and beyond. That's how I sort of look at it. I remember I forgot something. I remember early this year, 2025, March 20th it was, and I was going for a walk, and as I was walking around, went to enter the oval, a dog ran up to me. Normally they come up to greet me, but this one attacked me and bit me, and I was just shocked. I was just in shock, and I was shaking like something terrible, and the bite on my leg, my right leg, always my right side, the bite on my right leg the pain was excruciating. I couldn't walk, and the young guy had to take me home. He was very apologetic. And when I got back, I knew I had to go into the live meditation because I had to do something. And so I came into the live meditation after that attack, still shaking, still in shock. I told the group in the meditation that before the meditation started, that I'd been attacked and bitten by a dog. And so they put me in the prayer and sent healing energies to me. And we went through the meditation, half hour, and my shaking went, and the shock had eased right off, pretty much gone, I think. And I used the my V6 and the touch application on my mobile on the bite every day, about 2 or 3 times a day. I put the mobile phone and the V6 right beside my leg because of the seeping from it, and it cleared up really quickly. The pain went within 3 days, which is a big deal for me because it usually lasts forever pretty much. And then the wound started healing up very quickly too, which is another big deal for me because it takes a while for wounds to heal up with me. But that was a great one. So yeah, after QArc, I would like my memory restored, the curvature gone, the arthritis gone, the eyesight all healed up, bone density, gut issues, cholesterol, teeth and gums, and whatever else is going on inside of this body of mine to be healed up. And yes, I think that's, and the healing centres. I'd love to be involved in the healing centres somehow. And I'm so looking forward to the QArc. That is so exciting, and seeing and experiencing a new version of Mary after the makeover. So I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be lovely. And meeting the QHS people, that'll be really lovely too, really exciting. So I think that's all I would like to say, and thank you for listening to my prequel, and I'll see you after sometime. Bye for now.
Join us on the prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.